Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News starts right now.
New information tonight revealed in the official autopsy of Patrick Lyoya more than a month after he was killed by a Grand Rapids police officer. The report shows Lyoya's blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal limit the day he was shot and killed by Officer Christopher Schur.
Medical examiners also confirmed the 26-year-old died from a gunshot wound to the back of his head. Let's get right to Mara McDonald. She's live downtown tonight with more. Mara.
Kimberly, the autopsy results were not new. That he died from a bullet to the back of the head, that was not new. However, these toxicology results are. Let me show you. The confrontation between Patrick Lyoya and Officer Christopher Schur happened around 8 a.m. on April 4th. Toxicology results show Lyoya had blood alcohol of 0.29. The legal limit in Michigan is 0.08. You are considered super drunk under the law at 0.17. The toxicology report didn't find any illegal drugs in his system or marijuana. Lyoya had previous drunk driving convictions as well as other run-ins with law enforcement for domestic violence. It's why retired Detroit Assistant Chief Steve Dolant wants to know if it was more than an improper plate that had the officer pulling Lyoya over.
What drew his attention to that car to say, hey, something ain't right? Do I know the driver? Do I know the passenger? What's going on? People keep saying, well, you can't pull someone over on proper plate. Well, you can.
In addition, officers on scene that day believed the other man in the car with Lyoya was either drunk or high. Attorneys for Lyoya's family maintain the reason he was pulled over is not the issue and are calling on the Kent County prosecutor to criminally charge Officer Schur. Back here live. Now, the Michigan State Police has sent over a preliminary investigatory report to the Kent County Prosecutor's Office, but that report is missing key things like forensics into the taser or the body cam. And the prosecutor has said until he has all that information for review, there's going to be no decision on charges. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Okay, Mara, thanks. Devin.
2013, Wyatt Rewalt was almost killed from child abuse. His father's girlfriend was convicted. Since then, Wyatt's mom has been fighting to make sure it never happens to anyone else. Her campaign and a set of bills called Wyatt's Law was signed into legislation this week. Megan Woods live tonight with the journey it took to get to this point. Megan.
It took years to get to this point, but of course for this Macomb County mother, it was all worth it. So instead of creating a new database, which is originally what they were going to do, they're actually making the state's child abuse central, it's called a central registry, open to the public now, and it's all because of that one little boy, Wyatt.
He has no idea the impact that he's made.
Wyatt is now a 3rd grader with permanent brain damage, but one thing he knows for certain.
Is that your law?
Yeah. And he can tell you the exact day it passed.
April 20th.
For the last 7 years, Wyatt's mom, Erica, has visited the state capitol more than 100 times to make it happen. And Wyatt was right by her side.
The bills would die, would reintroduce. I think they finally were like, this woman's not going away.
Wyatt's Law was born out of Erica's frustration. She believes knowing her ex-husband's girlfriend had a history of child abuse would have changed everything.
I actually went to MDHHS and asked them about Rachel Edwards, who was Wyatt's abuser, and they told me we cannot give you any information. We're not allowed to give it out.
Michigan's Department of Health and Human Services has a database of people who abused or neglected a child that could be a future risk. Only certain employers and state officials could access it, but after Thursday, now the public can too.
She only went to prison 5 years for almost killing Wyatt, and who has permanent brain damage. And if we can't keep these people behind bars, then we as parents and grandparents, guardians should be able to find this information and keep them away from them.
And as of right now, that registry is under review, but she says that you can still access that information because that law is in effect. You can contact the state's Department of Health and Human Services by calling them, emailing them, putting some sort of online request in. Back to you.
You got it all right, Megan. Right now, Detroit police are looking for the shooter who killed one man and injured another.
Happened this afternoon in the area of Lance and Albany on the city's east side. Police say 2 men were walking to the store when a black Chrysler 300 pulled up and opened fire. 50-year-old Tony Wyndham was killed and a 20-year-old man is in the hospital in serious condition. Friends of Wyndham say today was his birthday and that his mother also died earlier this week.
Just lost his mom Tuesday of this week, and they were planning the funeral. And now this, so I don't know, so sad. I was at work when I got the call, and I got the call from people in Alabama to call me and told me what happened, so I flew up here just now.
Detroit police believe they have video of the shooter's car and a possible license plate. We'll certainly keep you posted on this investigation.
Wayne County prosecutors charged a Westland man with the murder and torture of his wife after a shocking discovery in the couple's garage. On May 3rd, Westland police were called to the home on Judy Drive in Westland. They found 45-year-old Sarah Grant in the garage with a number of cuts across her body. The investigation led to the arrest of her husband, 49-year-old William Grant, later that same day. Prosecutor says he stabbed his wife with a pair of scissors multiple times. Grant is charged with counts of murder and torture. State Rep Mary Cavanaugh is going to avoid jail time in her second DUI case.
Today, she appeared before a judge for her sentencing. Cavanaugh was pulled over back in February in Livonia with 2 flat tires. She pleaded guilty to drunk driving last month. Instead of jail time, Cavanaugh will enter a rigorous 24-month program to maintain her sobriety. It includes drug and alcohol testing, and she'll be required to attend a 12-step program every day for about 90 days.
I'm looking forward to using this to become a better person, and I am seeing that there is another life, and it's sober life.
Cavanaugh's attorney says she has no plans to resign, but plans to move on from this incident.
A woman in jail tonight after state police say drugs were hidden inside a tin box. They found them during a traffic stop in Wexford County. Happened Wednesday night when troopers stopped a vehicle on Wright Street near Leeson Street for not having a registration plate. During a search, troopers found this tin Toy Story box under the driver's seat. And investigators say a plastic bag with meth was inside the tin, along with a lighter and glass pipes. 42-year-old Susan Winchester was the one arrested with charged with drug possession, due back in court May 24th.
Stocks drop again today to close out a roller coaster of a week. The S&P fell 6% while the Nasdaq dropped 1.4%. The Dow fell just under 100 points. Rising inflation and a proposed higher interest rate fueled the poor performances. Also today, moves coming as investors took in a key report on the state of the labor makers' recovery. If you've been to the pump in the past few days, you've definitely noticed it. Gasoline prices have hit the highest level ever recorded.
Jumped a lot just since last week. The average price today for a gallon of regular gas sits at $4.31 a gallon, 30 cents above last week's, what seemed to be a high point last week. We were paying $2.96 a gallon last year at this time. Business editor Rob Maloney has a look at what's behind the latest surge and how it could impact your summer road trips.
So indeed, gasoline prices continue ticking upward. People are wondering why, and essentially it's a supply and demand problem. We were told that maybe China's demand would go down. It has not. We were expecting shipments from overseas on the European side. They're coming, but not as many as there need to be, and so supplies are tight all across America. And so now people are really starting to feel that sticker shock. Terry Desir just dropped a C note at the pump.
I'm still scratching my head. I usually don't even want to look at the tank. I just fill it up and turn my head.
You don't want to know.
I don't even want to know. It's outrageous.
It could easily impact summertime vacation travel, too. AAA Michigan tells us the state's average gas price is $4.31. The Transportation Department tells us a car's average mileage is 24 miles a gallon, an SUV or truck getting 17.5. So if you're thinking of driving to, say, Traverse City from Detroit, it's a 510-mile round trip. You'll spend $90 in the car, $126 in the SUV or truck. Say you're headed to Orlando, Florida. That trip, 2,320 miles round trip. You'll spend $413 on gas in a car, $571 in the SUV or truck. Want to see historic Washington, D.C.? Round trip from Detroit, 1,038 miles, $185 spent on the car trip, $256 in the SUV or truck. But here's the biggie. The Grand Canyon in Arizona, just under 3,700 miles, $653 in a car, just over $900 in the SUV or the truck. Now, recent college grad Taylor Allison, who's moving from Grand Rapids to Metro Detroit, is watching her tire pressure closely and also hard-pressed to do much summer travel.
My parents live in South Carolina, and we've been wanting to go do a trip with them out there, but not any plans right now. It's just too expensive.
Rod Maloney reporting today's gasoline price 3 cents a gallon higher than the record that was set back in March. The barrel price right now $109, and experts say that may continue to go up too.
We'll be back in 60 seconds with what expert is calling the best gift you can give your mom for Mother's Day.